only have they missed out on school, but the impact of what is happening around them could be confusing. As parents and guardians, you play a big role to navigate this new way of life for your kids. Joining me for more on this is educational psychologist Jessie Ann Bird. Indeed, we cannot stress enough the changes that children have had to face. They're no longer going to school, they can't see their friends, they're no longer able to hug close family members or spend as much time with them. Their playtime has changed drastically, and the ways they exercise and interact with the world around them has seriously been impinged. And while we look at those changes for them, we also have to look at the changes for children in different segments of society. And certainly children from poorer households, disadvantaged communities are very much at a loss at the moment. How and what are the long-term hidden impacts of COVID-19 on the lives of children?
You know, so much of what you've mentioned is what we consider very important for child development. We always emphasize things like routine and keeping things stable and predictable. And right now, the reality is that for a lot of us, that's just not possible. And I think that highlights the importance that we're placing on physiological well-being right now. But it does mean that we will still parents manage and how the parents cope with their anxieties.
Skype is giving us some troubles there. We ask everyone to bear with us, though. So, Jessie Ann, while we're looking at the changes, we also have to look at the increased information children are exposed to. Adults might not think, but children are very perceptive. They hear what adults are speaking about. They hear the news in the background, and there is a lot of fear and uncertainty. How does that impact on their trust of their caregivers and their adults, who might not necessarily be having very targeted conversations with them because they think they're too young to understand?
The fear of the unknown can be absolutely terrifying for children. So if they're not given the information in a way that they can understand, it will make things a lot more difficult for them, and it can lead to some additional anxieties. So this is where it's so important to have conversations that are developmentally appropriate for the children and vocabulary that they can understand. They may not be able to fully process what they're hearing on the news, or perhaps some of the more disturbing images that they're seeing on the television. But it doesn't mean that the information can't be presented to them in a way that they can engage with.
So where can parents and caregivers find information about the correct stages, or which age groups of children need what types of information? That must be incredibly daunting, especially if you've never had access to that kind of information before.
So with the onset of the corona pandemic, there has really been an explosion of online activity around mental health. And there are many organizations and websites that are able to provide a lot of information with a specific interest in children. And if you don't mind me mentioning two of them, the Johannesburg Parent and Child Counselling Centre, as well as the Educational Psychology Association for South Africa, both are putting out information that can assist parents. But I would encourage parents to reach out and ask out for support at this time. This is an incredible strain on everybody, and we shouldn't be going through this alone.
Okay, lastly, we forget to celebrate children. We're sending out messages of thanks and support to frontline essential medical care workers, but surely we should also be acknowledging the kind of things that our children are doing that we might not see. They are, not in all cases, but they're behaving themselves, and they are having to cope with a situation that is far beyond their grasp. What can we do to say thank you to them directly and to let them know that they're doing really well under the circumstances?
We really need to acknowledge their big feelings and their reactions, and when they manage to get things right. Children can be so versatile and adaptable, and sometimes as adults we can also learn from their approach to life.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much. That was educational psychologist Jessie Ann Bird telling us about the importance of speaking and having very open conversations with our children, and absolutely acknowledging the successes and the way that they're coping with the COVID-19 pandemic.